On Daf Yud Dalit Amud Beis. Yes, we're still on Yud Dalit Amud Beis. We have a Taisus that asked the Kasha, Taisus Dever Maskell, V'loi oznoi shel Mocher Azmo. We learn out from the pasuk that only an oizen and only a machru bezin becomes a nirtza, a Mocher Azmo does not. We learn out from a pasuk oznoi. Don't we have a pasuk. Frek Taisus Kasha. What do we need a pasuk for? Vim taimar lamali oznoi lemute the Mocher Azmo. Ain't a nirtza. Mocher Azmo is doesn't have a shifcha kananis. We already know that a Mocher Azmo doesn't get a shifcha kananis. If the Rav doesn't give him a shifcha kananis, he's not muter b'shifcha kananis. So then, and it's on daf chafa aleph amud beis, and therefore he can't be nirtza because in order to be a nirtza, you have to be able to say ahafti as ishti as bonai, and if you don't have a shifcha kananis, you don't have ishti. So Taisa Teretz that I would have thought this Gemara that needs a pasuk oznoi to be mamayit that a Mocher Azmo is not nirtza. They hold that Lamad Yamar that you darshan sacher. And if you darshan sacher, you would have darshan that just like a Mocher Azmo is nirtza. So just like a machru bezin is nirtza, so too is a Mocher Azmo. And it doesn't bother me, even though he's not able to say Ohafti as Ishti V'Spanai. It's a Gzer Shava. Gzer Shava works even though you're missing you're against it, even though you have a tam and you have a pircha. A Machru Bezdin is able to say Ohafti as Ishti, and a Mocher Azmo isn't. Mikol Makom Gzer Shava would have taught us that a Mocher Azmo is also nirtza. Mashmon oznoi is a befer shemiyat that the oznoi shall machru bezdin and not a oznoi shall Mocher Azmo. Yep, the Ritva has a different teretz. The Ritva says this is big chiddush. This is the Ritva on Taisus on the Gemara and it's in the Ritva. They were maskal Mocher Azmo ein rabbi moser lo shifcha, and he says that his chiddush is that even though the halacha is that a machru bezdin and Mocher Azmo ein rabbi moser lo shifcha kananis. That means that he just can't force the Avid Ivri to accept a shifcha kananis. It's not part of his avdus, but it's mutter for the Avid Ivri, even if he's a Mocher Azmo, to take the shifcha and to live with her, even though normally, according to Moser Shonim, it's an iser lav. Loisia kadesha refers to a shifcha kananis. This Avid Ivri is allowed to, even though he's a Mocher Azmo, even though we said that oznoi, but that was oznoi or only mamayit, that it's not part of the abdus. The Adon can't force him, but actually the Avid Ivri, no matter what kind of Avid Ivri he uses, is mutter. So therefore, it's mishkachas that an Avid Ivri, a Mocher Azmo, can say ahafti es ishti v'sbonai. So therefore, we need to have a mit that a Mocher Azmo is not nirtza. Yeah. Okay. Now, from Taisus, you see not like that. You see that Taisus needed a different teretz. I mean, if it was mishkachasli, according to the Ritva, it's mishkachasli. It's possible to say after sishti by a Mocher Azmo. The teretz is that Taisus doesn't hold that you're allowed to. You're not allowed to. It's a machru bezin is the only person that can live with a shifcha kananis. Mocher Azmo is ossur. So therefore, what would I need a pasuk that he's not a nirtza? Mocher Azmo, he can't say it's not mishkachas that he should have a shifcha kananis, and he should be able to. He can't say after as ishti v'sbonai. So therefore, Taisus had to say his teretz that we would have learned out from the Gzer Shava. And Rashi also is mashma like Taisus on Yidal Nebeis Devar Maskal ein rabbi moser lo shifcha kananis, and Rashi says da ossur lo. Okay, so now we got to we have to understand their machlokes. We have to environ the machlokes. It's going to take us the rest of the shir. Now, here in Yevamis, on Dafa Ayin Amud Aleph, and it's the very beginning of Perika Oral. The Gemara says that an oral can't eat truma. So the Gemara says that adds on, and the Gemara goes into an Eved Ivri that's Nimker L'Sheshin, an Eved Ivri that's a Nirtza, is not potter from a Korban Pesach, right? Well, because you might think he is, because an Eved Kanani doesn't have the right to eat the Korban Pesach, and even though an Isha is chayiv this is chayiv in this mitzvah, but an Eved Knani is ossur. Now, how do we know that an Eved Ivri is still chayiv in a Pesach and he eats the Pesach? Teretz is because the Gemara brings a raya, because if he would be an Eved Mamish, like an Eved Knani, as an Eved Ivri would be an Eved like a Eved Knani. So then, why doesn't he eat truma if his Adon is a Kayan? He's not allowed to eat truma. Why not? If he's a real Eved, the answer is he's not really a real Eved. So therefore, just like he can't eat truma, and that means he's still that means that the Rav doesn't have a kinyan of a goof in him, and it's so nothing changed. An Eved Ivri didn't change when he became an Eved Ivri, and therefore he's a Yisrael Ma'alya, like Rashi says, and therefore he has to eat the korban. He's a right to eat the korban pesach. He's chayiv in the mitzvah, just like Yisrael is, and also that's the reason why he doesn't eat the truma of his Adon if the Adon is a kain. Now Tais has the kasha. Now this is on Amud Beis already. That whole Gemara is on I and Amud Aleph, and the Tais on Amud Beis, the first Tais on the top over there. He has the kasha. It's Tivri Maskal Almo. He says, it does say in our Gemara in Kedushin on Tezayin Amud Aleph. It says Eved Ivri is Gufer Koni. Zayis Amaris. Rava said Zayis Amaris. Eved Ivri Gufer Koni. Yeah. So maybe he is an Eved. Is a Kinyan go fair? So why Taka? Everything is now problematic. Taka, why doesn't he eat truma? Taka, why is he chayiv in a Pesach? And Taisa says that's only to say that when we say Gufikoni is only to say Lagaba that we need a star to be Meshacher him, that you can't be Michael him bedibur. But really, he's a Yisrael Ma'alya, and he's not a real Eved. In fact, he's Mocher in the Shifcha, so he's not Yisrael Ma'alya. So maybe he is really an Eved. The answer is, Taisa says, that's because that's part of the Avdus. The Avdus is to produce Vadim Knanim for his Rav, and we learn that from there. Commissioner Schar Sacher. It does avodas yom and avodas laila, and so therefore, because it's just a matter of the abdus that he contracted, but it's not the pshat is that makes that he's an Eved. There's real abdus over here, even though the Gemara calls it a kinyan guf. That's only lagabe the moment is that you can't be machal. Now the Avnei Miluim has the kasha over here. This Avnei Miluim is not. It's regular. It's a shas Chuvas Avnei Miluim in the back. Siman Yud Daled, and it's Divrei Maskal Bereish Perikah Oral. Ask the kasha, if that's a good reason, if the Avdus being an Eved Ivri, you gotta be over an Aveira of Loisia Kadeshin, and you take a Shifcha Kananis and you have children for the Rav, because it's all for the Rav, everything is for the Adon. So then why shouldn't he be able to Mechal Shabbos for the Adon? Well, and do other Isurim for the Adon. Everything is for he has to do stuff for the Adon on Shabbos too. No, the Adon needs work. Why should the Adon go and get himself an Eved Kanani or find himself a non-Jew to have to do his work for him? He has an Eved Ivri. An Eved Ivri is Ivri, the Isser of Loisi Kadesha, to render the Adon Vadim Kananim. So let him also be for that same. If that's the reason why, because there's Avdus to do here. So then why shouldn't he be Mechal Shabbos and Yom Tov? Okay, and that's of course absurd, right? So therefore he lives with a kasha. He says, the Tzaisim says Tzorch Iyon Ke'es. I'm left with the kasha right now. So now the Rosh Shiva says, this is what he says. I'm going to first say it, and then I'm going to explain it, and then I'm going to add to it. First, he says that Tzvana Tais doesn't mean to say that the matter for an Isser Shivcha is the fact that it's a Torah Adon, and he can do anything for the Torah Adon, and we ever saw him for the Torah Adon, right? Because of course he can't be Mechal Shabbos for the Adon. Now the matter Teretz says, but the matter for to produce children from the Shifcha Kananis is Avada is mitzad the Avdus, and the Avdus that was part of the Avdus. It's not the pshat. In other words, so it's not the pshat is that the Eved has to do everything that needs to be done for the Adon. No, it's part of the Avdus. Chilul Shabbos wasn't part of the Avdus. Producing Avadim Knanim was part of the Avdus because you learn that from a pasuk. Mishnah starts kocher. If he's not, then he's not Yisrael Ma'ali anymore. So there is some kind of Avdus in more that changes the etzem status of the Eved Ivri, and so Mela, perhaps he's not chayiv in a Pesach. He's not allowed to eat a Pesach. Teretz says no. He's not really a gavra of an Eved. That's only by an Eved Knani. Therefore, and because he's not really a gavra of an Eved, he can't eat truma if his Adon is a kohen. Because an Eved Knani is like sharik hamar. The shore of a kohen eats truma, and that's for sure that an Eved Ivri is not kashar of a hamara. So therefore he can't eat truma. Therefore he's still a Yisrael, and he'll have to bring a korban pesach, and he eats from korban pesach. But Eved Knani, he changed. When you bought an Eved Knani, when you acquired an Eved Knani, or if your Shifcha Kananis produces a child who becomes it goes after the mother, so therefore he's an Eved Knani. He is a cheftz of mammon. He's a shore, and he's a cheftz of an Eved. He's an actual Eved, and you have kinyan kasef in him, and therefore he eats truma, and that we say that an Eved Ivri is gufay kanui. So Taisa says that's not a chalais, that's mishana the gavra of this Eved Ivri, right? He's it's just that there's this shem avdus that's chal in the Eved Ivri, and as a result of that, shem avdus, it's mutter for him to live with a Shifcha Kananis, and so that the shem avdus is mutter. But let me just bring at this point. There is a machlekes. Rav Chaim in his sefer, the Rambam brings down there's a machlekes Taisus and Rambam. What is an Eved Knani? Is he a Yid with mitzvahs Keisha, and just is possible for certain things? He can't live with a Bas Yisrael, or is he a goy? And that's why he's also a Bas Yisrael. So the Rav Chaim over there on Hilchos Asuri Bia Parak Yud Gimel Halacha Yud Beis, it's he says that Taisus holds that that Eved Knani is really a goy. He's an akum, and so much so is he an akum that if he's Baal Bas Yisrael, so according to there's one mandiyama that holds you go according to the psul, you go according to the psul, and if a goy is Baal Bas Yisrael, the vlad is kosher because he's a goy, and therefore he'll if he wants to be Megayer, he's kosher. If he doesn't want to be Megayer, he's a goy, right? So what if a Eved Knani is Baal of Bas Yisrael? So there's a mandiyam that says he's also kosher, and that's Marshal learns in Taisus. Taisus is Vamas Tezayin Omid Beis Divrei Maskal Amaroy Ninhu. Marshal learns in that Taisus, a complicated Taisus, that Taisus holds that Avdus does not pass on to the Vlad, but since he's an Akum, so the Vlad is an Akum, and if the Vlad is an Akum, so then Viter he's kosher. If he doesn't want to be Megayer, he's an Akum. If he doesn't want to be Megayer, he's a kosher Yid, just like any ger, right? His Avdus doesn't pass on, but the Rav Chaim brings rise that the Rambam holds that an Eved Knani is a Yisrael. There was Geras. His tefillah produced Geras, and therefore he that's where his mitzvahs come from. Oh yes, so according to Taisus, where does mitzvah come from? As a guy, Tarot says from the Avdus. So you see that the Avdus can produce Isser and Heter. So just like over there, according to Taisus, Avdus produces mitzvahs on a goy, on an Eved Knani who's considered a goy. So Avdus will produce Heter for an Eved Ivri to a Shifcha Knanis, but the Rambam doesn't hold such a thing. What I want to say from here is, I mean, there's much more to say in that piece of Reb Chaim. What I want to say, it's number 39. Now, how do I know it's number 39? If you look at Reb Chaim, it's not numbered. Teretz says, I numbered it. And if you're serious about learning in Lamdus and learning, that means you're serious about learning the Reb Chaims a la Rambam, you have to number your Reb Chaims. You got to go to your sefer, and if you don't have a sefer, you got to get your sefer, number each one, and it goes, and the last one is 155. So if your numbering system didn't reach 155 or you got beyond 155, you're wrong. You have to. Usually, what's easy to do is start from the beginning, go to the end. If you're off, go from 155 and go backwards, and you'll see where you went off. Now, the Rajba, he asked the same conscious Taisus that what do you mean an Eved Ivri? What do you mean he's not potter from Korban Pesach? He's the Gemara says that he's not potter from Korban Pesach because you see that he doesn't eat truma, right? And the Gemara actually says, therefore you see that the Ein Gufay Konoi. The Gemara in Kedushin Tezayin says that Zayis Ameris Eved Ivri Gufay Konoi. So Taisa said that's only Lagabe the Mominus. But the Gabe that's some status of the Eved Ivri. He's a Yisrael Gomer and Yisrael Malia, right? But the Rajva has a different sense. Rajva says what you see from over there is that he has a Kinyan Isser, and the reason why you have to have. First, he says like this: if he has even if the Gemara said that he has a Kinyan Aguf, the Adon has a Kinyan Aguf in his Eved Ivri, it's not a Kinyan Gomer. First of all, the Rashba says he's Yotze B'Groin Kesef. I mean, if you own something, you can't. Somebody can't buy you out. You know what you want. You want to sell. You sell. You don't want to sell. It's tough. You can't be forced to sell. And then also, Eved Ivri is Yotze B'Shesh. Is Yotze B'Yovel. Okay. So it's a simon that the Rav doesn't have a Kinyan Gomer. So therefore, if and he only has enough of a Kinyan that you can't be Meshacher him b'dibur, and therefore he's a Yisrael Mali, and therefore he brings a Pesach, and he doesn't eat truma, right? Why doesn't he say that? Why does he say it's not a Kinyan Gomer? According to it's a Kinyan Gomer, and Norvaden, it's only the Gabi Mammon. Yeah, you only have a Kinyan in his Mammon, but his actual status as a Yid hasn't been touched. So therefore, of course, he has all the mitzvahs of a Yid and the Hater. And we said that he's a Yid. He's an Eved Ivri. Is a Yid with a din of Abdus in him, but he's not really an Eved. It's not, status didn't change. But the Rajba didn't say that. Rajba said that it's not a Kinyan Gomer. Taisa says it's a Kinyan Gomer, and just that it's only Kinyan Moment. So now, and that's why you can't get rid of him. The Dibur, you need a shtar. But according to the Rajba, it's not a Kinyan Gomer. What did he mean? Teretz is because the Rajba holds, like we brought from the Ritva and the Ramban, that there's a Kinyan Isser. There's a Kinyan Mammon in an Eved Knani, and there's a Kinyan Isser in an Eved Knani, and there's so too that is there a Kinyan Isser in an Eved Ivri, and that's what's matter him to take a wife of Shifcha, and therefore you can't just get rid of him with a shtar, even though you theoretically should be able to be Michael the din Mammon, but you can't because you could be Michael to all the din Mammon you want as long as there's Kinyan Isser, the Mammon reappears because the Kinyan Isser is the makor for the Kinyan Mammon. We spoke about that. Yeah. Okay. So therefore the Rajba asked why is an Eved Ivri not potter from a Korban Pesach, and he doesn't, And why shouldn't he be able to eat truma? And therefore, he says that it's not a kinyan gomer. Okay, this is the Ritva also now. Now, okay. Okay. And once we see there's not a kinyan gomer, according to the Rashba, then Mamela, it's a raya that he's not an Eved gomer, and therefore his gavra is the status of the gavra is the same. He's still a Yisrael Malya, and therefore he eats a korban pesach. He's chayv b'chol mitzvos. Doesn't have right. But what about the heter legavi the shifcha kananis? It's enough. Teretz says you don't need to be a chefetz of an eved, even though he's not an eved gomer. He has his heter for an eved ivri is because he's become an eved in a sense. Mitzad the kinyan iser, and that needs beer, and Taisus, but Taisus Chayil. Taisus says there is no kinyan iser in eved ivri. It's only by Nevi Kanani. It is minded that by Nevi Kanani is kinyan iser. And the kinyan haguf is the kinyan the moment, and that's why you can't be Michael and you need a shtar shechar, and therefore that's what you see on sin. Therefore, there is no status change, and therefore he's a Yisrael Malya. Now, it's only beaten that right. Okay. Okay, and because the Ram we said the Taisus holds like the Meiri that it's a kinyan tekel of Peroisov. There is no real mummin in here. There's no attribute of mummin in Eved Ivri. There's just a din. You have a din. Your kainin is guf lagabi the Peros. So therefore, that's enough to be called a kinyan guf, and there's no kinyan iser. Therefore, he's Yisrael Gom. Okay, now we have these. So we have these two shitas. If you look in the Kilos Yaakov, he also learns that in our sugya that there's a machlokes whether the reason when we say Eved Ivri Gufakani is because of kinyan iser, it's because of the actual din of dekel of Perosav here. So now, what about the fact that he's mutter with the Shifcha Kananis? So you see that he's not Yisrael Gomer, and so Taisa says because he has to be over as Rabbi of Yom of Valayla, and Teretz says he's not a gavra of an Eved, but it's chal that there's a din a shem there's avdus. You were kind of avdus lagabi because you were kind of the goof of the Eved Ivri lagabi avdus, and that's not that the Eved is not that the Eved Ivri is an Eved, but you were kind of his goof. He's just the same Eved Yisrael that he was before he sold himself. But you're kind of in his guf lagabi avdus, and then you can't be machal that. You have to give but that doesn't change his status because he's taka. He does not become an eved. Okay, but so now, so light taisvis that he holds that a Mocher Azmo is mutter b'shikha is because the heter shifra is because of the that you were kind of in lagabi avdus. So even though he's not really a chefetz of an eved, and he has a kinyan, the Adon has a kinyan lagabi avdus like a dekel perosav in Cain. That's only therefore it's only and that's only possible to say if the Rav could be machriach the eved to take a shifcha knas, because then we say that there's enough of this in a kinyan to force the eved to take a shifcha knas, but if he can't force him, even the Ritva's minded that he can't by Mocher Azmo you can't be forced to take a shifcha knas. So if you can't force him, then it's not taking a shifcha is not part of the avdus. It's not part of the dekel of Peirosov. So therefore, there's no heter. I mean, the only reason why there's a heter is according to Taisus because because that's part of the Avdus, because that's part of the kinyan that he has Lagabi Avdus. Right, so but if he doesn't have the ability to force him, then he doesn't have that kinyan Lagabi Avdus, so then the Yisrael doesn't have a heter for a Shifcha. But the Ritva holds that he is an Eved. He has a change, as there's been a change in the status of Yisrael, and that's the case then held to Ritva even by a Mocher Azmo. And all we mean to say is that a Mocher Azmo can't be forced, so he can't be forced. But in every Eved, the reason there's a change in his status, there's a kinyan isser. And because and he holds that you become there's Avdus in him, and that's what you're kind of. So if there's Avdus in him, his status is changed Lagabi Shifcha Kananis. That's why it's Mutter Shifcha Kananis, because the Etzem Gavra has changed. Not enough. He says it's not a kinyan gomer. It's not enough to be potter from the mitzvahs. He's not enough to eat truma. Not enough to be potter from Korban Pesach and to be ossur to eat Korban Pesach. So, and there's another raya. He says if you hold, according to Ritva, if you hold that a Mocher Azmo is not mutter in Shifcha Kananis, yeah. So according to the Ritva, the whole reason why you can't be moichel a bedibber an Eved Ivri is not because of the Mom and Shaboy, it's because of the Isser Shaboy. So if a Mocher Azmo doesn't have a kinyan of kinyan Lagabi Avdus of Avdus, doesn't have a din Avdus Lagabi a Shifcha Kanani, but Mocher Azmo he's not allowed to, even if he wants to. And not the pshat is that the Adon can't force him, he's not even allowed to. So then, why shouldn't you be able to be Moichel an Eved Ivri? You should need a star. And we never heard such a thing that a Mocher Bezdin needs a star. A Mocher Azmo doesn't need a star. No, everybody needs a star. An Eved Ivri needs a star for Shikhr, right? As Bal Korcha, according to Ritva, that makes him Chayiv, and that requires a star is the kinyan isser. So if there's a kinyan isser, then he's mutter to a Shifcha. So then what do we learn out from? What do we mean when a Mocher Azmo is not mutter to Shifcha? He means he's not. It's not that he's not mutter. He's mutter. He just can't be forced. This is clip 6.